Hey, how's everyone doing? Welcome. Welcome to this edition of the Canvas Crew. My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and I also paint. And we get together twice a month here in the Canvas Crew, and we paint 2 paintings a month. This is today's lesson is going to be, we're going to be painting this beautiful door. It should be perfect for the season of the year that we're in. And, I'll have to, if you are part of our Facebook group, which I'll put a link in the comment section at the end of this video. If you're not, I would highly recommend that you jump on board and join us. We're a private drawing group that also does a little bit of painting, but mainly drawing. And my goal is to help you get to be really good at the craft of drawing. So watercolor is just a slight extension beyond that. So like I said, the Canvas Crew is a class I have where we get together twice a month. And this month I decided to open it wide open for the public, anyone at large, that I could take you step by step how to paint this beautiful picture that you see right now on your screen. If you do come to our Facebook group, I will get you the link where you could download this picture. So here we are. Wow, what a morning it was. I was stuck at the mall and the Apple store trying to get some tech. But here we are, and I made it back in time and just put it all together. So what are we going to do? All right. First thing we're going to do is we're going to tape off our picture here, and then we'll get that. And I usually have in my class, we paint everything 5x7, and I'll show you how to do that. And then we will use you could use a traditional pencil or a mechanical pencil. I've got a mechanical pencil. This is just cheap. This is from the store, grocery store. It's a Bic throwaway mechanical pencil. You might also grab yourself a kneaded eraser. So I've got that. I've got that as well. I'm going to change this the way I've got my computer set up here. Give me a second so I can see what I'm doing instead of seeing myself on delay. There you go. Much better. Okay, so I have a mechanical pencil here. Let me just hide this picture for right now. How about that? There we go. Mechanical pencil here. Excellent. We got that. And then I've got 2 palettes. What we'll do is we're gonna tape off our picture here to have one painting on this side, and then we're gonna paint it twice. So we're gonna have 2 paintings that we're working on simultaneously. And I like doing that because it gives you the double amount of practice. Plus, if you make a mistake on one, you have another one to try and work it out. And so this is a really good way to kind of find your footing. All right. So what I'm going to do is I've got 2 palettes in front of me. I've got this palette, and this palette is the palette that I use all the time in our class. And I want to show you, these are the only colors we use in the class because I really like to emphasize the idea of you getting good at mixing colors. I know that when I started with watercolor, I was overwhelmed with all the different varieties varieties of color. And if I could simplify it, then it was much easier on my students. So these are the colors. I'm just going to hold them up here to the camera that you can, this is Quinadrada Magenta, okay? I've got Ivory Black, Phileo Blue, Hanson Lemon, and Payne's Gray. What I'll do is, if you're interested in, I could send you a supply list for all these things that will have links where you could get them. If you do join our class, you automatically you'll get a supply list emailed to you. All right, so we have that palette. So I'm going to use that to paint one set of our pictures. And then I have this palette, which I just tore apart. This was from a student, and let me grab my paper towels here. You know, this is how we roll, right? Sorry. You're all like, come on, get with it. Get onto our project here, right? We don't have all day. All right. Okay. Then oops, just bounced my picture here. I had a student at one point decided that this wasn't for them, and they just gave me this palette, and this was a very inexpensive watercolor set. I think you could probably pick this up at any art store, and I thought that I would try and paint this picture with these paints. So you might have a set like this with a variety of colors, and we'll try and create something on this side with those. Okay, so that's kind of my aim. Let's see if you have any questions. I am monitoring the chat, so I will be looking up there. Let me rearrange this chat window so I can kind of see if something comes up. And I think we are good to go. So what do you say we get started, right? All right. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way here. Okay. I'm going to move that too for right now, so we don't need that. So here's the first secret. Here's the first secret to... Here's the feast. I see you, Stitch. Thank you very much. Here is the first secret to watercolor. Are you ready? A great drawing will save a bad watercolor. A great watercolor will never save a bad drawing. All right. So unlike oil paint you could constantly like add layers and make adjustments, but watercolor is not like that. So we want to make sure that our drawing is spot on. I have made the mistake so many times of thinking I'll get sloppy in my drawing, and I'll think, oh, I'll fix that when I'm watercoloring, and it just comes back and haunts me. Okay, so grab your tape. Come up here to the top of your paper. We're going to kind of mask out 2 5x7s. So I'm just going to tape this in here like this. And by the way, I've tried all kinds of different tape, and you can buy this at hardware store. This is Scotch 2020 masking tape. Okay, Scotch 2020 masking tape. All right, so I've got my tape along the border here, and I'm trying to make it square with the top of the border there. Got it? All right, grab my ruler. All right, we're gonna mask out 2 5x7s. So let's see here. Let's come here and let's come in just an inch from the side. Okay, I'm gonna put a little marker right there. And then I'm going to move my ruler over, and I'm going to come across to 5. So this would be 5. Oh, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do 5. Let's come in an inch and a half. I apologize. Inch and a half. This will give us a little bit more extra white space. So we're going to come in an inch and a half from the side there. And then I'm going to slide my ruler down, match it up with that because I can't do the math so quickly, and I'm going to put another mark right at 5 inches right there, okay? So we have one here at 1.5, and then I move my ruler down and got it at 5. Let's come over here to this side now and line this up with the tape and come in an inch and a half from this side, right there, all right? And then I'm going to go 5 inches from that. So let's see. I'm going to start right at 10. I know I'm going to come all the way to 5. I'll go right there. Boom. There it is. So I've got my 2 widths at 5. You see that? Is that exciting or what? Take my tape again now. and I'm going to go to the outside. You see that the little marker right by my thumb? All right. I'm going to go to the outside and just make sure the tape lines up square with the outer edge of your paper. You see that? All right, let's come over here and do the same thing on this side. Go to the outside of the little marker right there and make sure your tape lines up square with this edge, just like that. Let's see, Kurt, what brand of watercolor paper are you using? Oh, great question, Paul. Now, I splurge when it comes to watercolor paper, okay? So I'll use Arches. This is on the more expensive side, but I think that it is worth it. So now, look at this. I bought these the other day. These are far less expensive, and they just come in like a sheet, like a sketchbook. And I have plans to use this, but for now that I've been running this class for 2 or 3 years now, I'm like framing my paintings and giving them away to family and friends. So, and I might someday even put them up for sale. But for right now, so I want to make sure that they do well. Plus, I have heard that if you do make a mistake, you can use a magic eraser. That's a cleaning product we have here in the United States. And if you have good watercolor paper, it comes up pretty good. But the cheaper the watercolor paper will hurt you. So, all right. There you go. That was probably too much. That was more than enough information. You probably didn't want to hear all that, but that's okay. All right, 7. That actually was a good question, Paul. All right. All right, so I'm coming down 7 inches here. I've got 7 inches, both of those markers. Let's grab my tape. All right, we're going to line that up on that and line that up there. Bam, we got that. There's another method of like preparing paper where people will like wet paper and they will stretch it. And that's with bigger sheets. And that's also very good. So this, what we're doing here is my aim at this point is to give you as much practice. I like to bang these paintings out. And if we do a giant painting, it will take too long. So this way, this will give you more practice. I think at this point, you should be striving to paint as a lot of quick paintings. So, all right. So what I just did was I measured 5 inches from this to right there. I put a mark 5 inches from here to here, and then I put tape to the outside, and so now we've got 2 5x7 areas to paint in. Yeah, my son was over here the other day, and I've got a stack here. I'll show. Here's a. Oy. Let's see here. Yeah, here's a stack of. Yeah, here's a stack of paintings from this class, and so they're just kind of sit here. He was going through them. He was like, "Dad, can I have this? Can I have this one? Can I have this one?" I was like, "Sure." I have to get some frames though. So, anyways, that's how we roll, right? All right. All right, I got my things set up here now. Now let's get into drawing this picture. Okay, let me bring the picture up on the screen so that you could see it. There it is. Okay. What a day and time to do. Oh, what day and time. Paul, I always do the watercolor class on Saturdays at 2 p.m. A lot of times it takes us a couple, like we will spend about 2.5 hours, but I break it up in 1 hour segments, and I find that to be really helpful. So usually we'll do the first one on 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, Eastern time, and then I do a second lesson the next day on Sunday at about 2:30. I let everybody know, and if we need to, we will go have a Monday lesson. But of course, if you miss it, you can always watch the recording. And the best thing about my classes is I'm in our Facebook group all the time. So if you have a question, I'm always there to help you. And if we need to have a little direct messaging back and forth, or even sometimes I even made phone calls as far as if someone's getting confused. Okay, so another great question. Thank you very much. All right, let's get into this right now. We're going to draw this picture. So let's take a quick look at it here. Now, let's start with, I'm going to kind of like, I've got my mark here in the middle, and the first thing we're going to do is let's kind of gesture this. But when we gesture this, I want you to gesture it lightly. So we're just going to, like, I see that beam going across here. So we'll just kind of come down here, and I'm almost letting, you may not even be able to see this, but let's see if I zoom in a little bit here. So we'll draw this one first, and then we'll come back and we'll do this like this. We're going to draw this one first, and then we'll come back and draw it twice. All right. So come across here. This is that white strip up on top, maybe like this. And then I'm going to kind of, it doubles down here. And then see that white brick? Look at that white brick coming in there. So if I look at that white brick like right up here where it hits the jamb of the door, it's almost perfect. Look at this little top corner here is almost square. So let's just kind of come down here, and to draw a straight line, I keep my wrist as like locked in, and I just kind of move my elbow. All right, so here we go. And I would prefer you not to use a ruler, okay? Don't use a ruler. Just lock in your wrist. Don't move your wrist, and just move your elbow down. And if it helps you, you can always, like, I draw straighter lines from left to right. So here's the bottom of the door. Let's come down here like this. Left to right, still locked in. You can always like spin your paper to where you can always draw from left to right. See? All right, so then we're gonna come in even more with our door, but this at least is the beginning of that outer jamb. So let's come in here. I'm gonna just take a shot. I'm gonna put maybe a little dot right there, little dot. I'm gonna put that same dot over here because it's gonna be perfectly centered, right? Come all the way down here. This will give me something to aim for, actually. All right, so now I'm just going to connect the dots. So I'm going to put my pencil here, put my eye there, and bring those two together. Same thing over here. Keep that wrist straight. Go from left to right. And if yours is, look, mine's a little wiggly. That's okay. I'm okay with that. One other thing we did, I'll tell you what you could do is once you draw your freehand line, you can, if you do take a ruler and run a straight line this will give the illusion that this is like freehand. And I know I've just completely gone back on what I just said, but that happens sometimes. don't hate me, okay? Don't hate me. But if you definitely want to put like a freehand line on top of that line, and it will maintain kind of a hand drawn feel to it. Oh boy, you guys are killing me. All right. Okay, this is my door here. Let's come down here and let's get some of this pottery here. So down here now, this is where we want to take. This is when we want to kind of slow down and really kind of take our time to get this drawing correctly. So I'm here at this line. This is gonna be the bottom. Look at that gray part of the door. It kind of comes up like that. And then the bottom part of the door. This is like this red, the red piece of wood that's at the very bottom, just like that. You see? And let me count now. Let me count the number of. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 there, and then we've got and the middle one's a little bit wider than the others. Okay, so let's kind of It's easy. We can visualize about the center of the door, and I'm just going to visualize that it's going to be right about there. Trust your eyes on this one. You should be able to do that. We really want to get this drawing down sharp. If we do, then we'll be in business. Okay, so from here now, you're just gonna have to kind of guess on this one. So we're gonna come out. This is the width of that center. That's the width of that center panel, okay? Okay, let's see what else. I'm looking for something here. Oh, this will work. Here's a piece of cardstock. And I'm going to use this piece of cardstock to get my lines straight. And I know, please just follow what I do, not what I say. I'm going to hold this lightly down, just like that. If you get these lines straight, I know what's going to happen. You're going to be far more successful. Okay, so now if you look at our picture, right, we've got 3 panels on either side of this wide one here. So just kind of guesstimate. We're going to do 1 and 2. Look at that, just like that. I'm going to come over here and just divide that evenly by 3. You could do that. Okay, lightly, I'm going to add this next lightly. Boom. Okay, got one more to do now. Does that look? Looks pretty good there. Lightly. Ooh, look at that. That is a mess. Okay, so what I've done is I've drawn that center, and then I broke these down up by 3s. Okay, now you see where the mail slot is in the door? That's not dead center. That's going to be a little bit lower. So this one we could kind of like do this one by freehand if we want. It's a shorter distance. So I'm going to come across there. Come across there like that. Get your drawing right. If you get your drawing like right, the watercolor process is so much more enjoyable. If you are winging it, oh my, it will make you quit super fast. We're going to do this twice. So, okay, let's get the general shape. We're going to get the general shape now of this wreath. So I'm going to come down here, put a little mark right there. I'm going to come up here. Okay, so there's about the diameter, and I can just kind of come around and kind of guess. Look at that. Circle doesn't have to be exact because we're going to make leaves out of it. Estimate where about the center of the circle is, and then just come up here and okay. How's everyone doing? Am I going too fast? You know, one thing I like about the kneaded erasers, you could always like roll them so they get a little bit more smaller. It's always very helpful. Doing good. All right, Pam. Thank you for the feedback. Excellent. Okay. We got kind of our wreath shape here. All right, let's come over here and use this as a landmark. A landmark is something on our picture where we can kind of guesstimate where another object is. So let's come in here very carefully and get this doorknob. And it looks like it's a round shape. Yeah, this is how I'm drawing mine, something like that. And then, of course, that mail slot. There's a little like a key or a knocker. I don't know what this little thing is, but we definitely will put that in the paint phase. We don't need to draw that in right now. Okay, there's our basic door. I think we're good to go on that. So let's come over here now and get this pot. Okay, the bottom left pot, and we're looking into it. So, you know, when we go to draw the pot, you've got to kind of start off with this oval, right? And then we're gonna come down like this. And then down here, you want to make this a little bit more of an oval. You see that? Like that. So that's what we're going to do right now. So coming over here, let's see. Here's the, if I look at this oval, it comes to about, let me just kind of guesstimate, right about there. And then it comes up short right there. Okay, so I'm going to draw this opening here. It's like an oval or a hot dog shape. All right, and then this, you want to make this really round. Now this is interesting. Come over here now, do the same thing, but this one is a little bit lower. So definitely come in, let's see, that almost lines up right there. And it comes in short. It's a little bit shorter, and the bottoms are the same. So let's kind of come over here. All right, so let's draw an oval. And nice round bottom like that. A lot of times when I am drawing, what I recommend is that we draw a containment line. That means like the area that the drawing is going to go into, and then we go into that and draw all the details. So if we come over here to this little arrangement here, right? I'm going to come all the way up here. And I'm just kind of lightly drawing the area that my flowers are going to show up. Excuse me. And here I'm just going to kind of draw some circles where I know where to put my red. All right, come on over here. Here's our greenery on this side here. And then we're just going to kind of follow up this vine. Look at the contour. A contour is just kind of going around the outline of your picture. You see that? So I'm just kind of coming up here, getting an idea. This one kind of comes over here. This one doesn't need to be perfect, but we're going to come up here, and this is going to come down here like this. Within this now we can, you could kind of come in here and add some just areas that they're going to have some flowers. I'm not going to put them all in, but just a few. There's a lot down here. All right, let's come over to the other side and get this. This is really cool. This light here, right? All right, so let's start right in the middle of that. That is right above the middle of that light is right above. Look at it's right above our wreath right here. So we're just gonna come over here. Start with a vertical. Lines are slanted there. Top and bottom. Let's get the detail here, because this is where if I get the detail, now this is the way I work. If I get the detail, then it makes my picture that much better. All right, we're looking good here. I like there's this. Let's see now. If this is that and this is this. All right, so there is this little. You know what? I'm gonna leave that little black thing off. I'm gonna leave that off because there's a lot going on here already. And then if I look at the picture now, there's like two large pomegranates. I think that's what they are. There's one here, and then there's one over here. And now I'm going to look very carefully at this picture here, because what I want to do now is kind of draw the shape, the contour of these leaves on the middle here. You see this? And now this doesn't have to be perfect, but I definitely want this to have a round feel to it, because when I come in with my green, I'm going to follow that line pretty accurately. And the same thing now I'm going to do now for the outside. So just follow the contour. You know, and when it comes to watercolor, what we're doing here, it takes time like everything else. So, you know, the fact that you're doing this right now, this is you're on the right step. It takes time to get good at this. So don't be so hard on yourself. The fact that you're even attempting to do this is a good sign that you are improving. This is great. All right, before we move on to our next one here, let's come over here to this pot here and just kind of detail it out just a little bit more. So the top part is really round. You see that? And then there's there's a second piece that comes around like this. Look at that. And we get 3 down here. All right. This has a nice round edge to it. Let's get that in, because when we start painting it, I'm telling you, we won't put this stuff in, and then it'll be too late. Okay, guess what? We're going to do it again now. We're going to draw it all over again, so we have 2 paintings to work with. Hang in here. We're doing good. You're doing good. This is why we do 2. I mean, the very fact that I realized, you know what, we should use a ruler of drawing some of these straight lines. I didn't realize that till I was halfway through this other one. So let's get that nice straight edge there. Okay, let's get this side here exactly what we did before. So we're going to come down here. I'm going to make a guess. This is the brick first, right? So we're going to put a dot there. And I'm going to square this up. Okay, square that up. Do the same thing on this side, about the same distance. square my ruler up with the edge of the tape because I already know that's pretty square. Down here, this is the bottom of the door, and it's not as square because it looks like there's probably a lot of water wherever this place was, but we can start off at least with a line going across, and we can make some adjustments as we go along. I always forget what is that thing on the bottom piece of wood the dormer, the door jamb, not the door jamb, threshold. Is that a threshold? That one I'm eyeballing. It's such good practice. But of course, if you only drew one and you're fortunate to watch the recording of this, you could just skip ahead right to where you want to watch us paint. All right, let's get the corner of the door, top corner of the red door here. It's going to be right about, I'm going to guesstimate right about there maybe. I'm going to come over here and take that same distance, about there maybe. And let's draw a straight line from there to the bottom. That looks pretty good. That. Okay. Exciting. All right, let's go ahead now and work out the center. All right, so I'm going to just kind of eyeball. I'm going to look from here to here. And I'm just going to put a little mark. You can naturally like find the center of things just by making an educated guess, and you're going to be right on the mark. Okay, now with that being the center, let's make the width of the middle board here. This kind of is a little bit of a guess. And then we're going to divide up from here to there by 3s. And so even this out, again, just guesstimate it. And then over here, same thing. Oh, look at, I just noticed something. Look at the, let me bring this back over here and I'll show you something. At the very top here of the door, see, you kind of have this, this edge, it goes like this. Do you see that? Those are the little details that really make this look great. So let's just erase those. Yeah. All right. Come back over here. We'll hit that right now. Okay, so let's get the outer pieces of board here. They go from top to bottom. Do you see that? So let's just line this up here. Okay, there's one. I'm going to go to the other side now. All right, there's the other one. Now I'm going to draw the middle board. I'm going to draw the middle board, and that's this mark and that one right there. So put the ruler on that. I'm going to get the hat, make sure this is squared up. All right, and I'll do the other one on the other side. Get that nice squared up. And then let's get, now, this is what you could, yep, we're going to put it right on the mark there and get this lined up. Do it lightly. Let's see what happens. There it is. Good. Put that right there. Line that up. I used to only use a ruler when I would draw like the lines of a sailboat, you know, like strings. And that was the only scenario really where I found myself using a ruler. Well, guess what? Today is the second place that I think, yeah, use a ruler if you're going to be doing a door. All right, look at that little panel that's coming across here. It's going to be maybe a little bit higher than that. So I'm going to go there, and I'll go there, just like that. I'm going to just look at the bottom of the ruler and square it up along the bottom. And so this is going to come across like this. Right? And then this top one, same thing. Oh, look at that. So nice. Erase those center lines there. Sometimes I prefer, my hands are pretty dry right now, but sometimes you get that oil. And if you just grab one of your brushes and just use that to brush away your eraser marks, that's always a nice effect there. All right, here's my mail slot. This one I could do freehand. Okay, let's get this wreath in now. Now, once again, we're going to get the outer area. So let's see here. I'm going to kind of, how far up from the top of the mail slot? I'm going to kind of be right about there, I think. And then it's going to come all the way out to about here. And then it's going to come all the way out to about here. All right, so with those three, I could kind of guesstimate a nice wreath circle. I'm going to come all the way around like that. That's not too bad. Okay, inside, and I'm just doing it lightly here. Ooh, that'll be nice. Get this door handle in place. Take the time, get it right. All right, come down here. Let's get this pot first, okay? So I'm gonna put my pencil. This is red here. This is where the door starts. So then my jam is over here, and I could see that this one edge of the pot is there. The other edge is going to be over here. So with that, and how high from this base, it's about right. So here we go. Nice even oval. Great. I'm going to convex those together, and now make this a nice, much more rounder bottom. That will really kind of give a sense that it's in perspective. Jump over the other side. Here's that main door jamb, and this is going to be a little bit lower, right? All right, come in, convex both of those, nice and round. So we have two different sizes there. Okay, let's get this lamp next. All right, so this lamp. So if you remember, I started drawing the middle. That seemed to work pretty well, right? So let's come down here and kind of use our guesstimate this. Middle is gonna be right about there, I think. And then we're gonna bring those sides together. Bring that together. A little square on top. Now let's see, that's the top of the door. That's the beginning. Yep, we might have to, let's see, this is the top of the door. This is that. Might have to make an adjustment on this top line here. If you've been following me, then you want to definitely erase this top line here. I'll tell you why. That's in the wrong position. If I'm looking at all my lines correctly. Okay. So what I want to draw here is the wood beam, top and bottom of it. So this right here is the top edge. You see that? And we're going to wing it. We're going to do some changes in the middle here. No one will know, but let's come up here just a little bit. Put a mark just like that. And this will be the beginning of the wood. So I'm going to do this. And then I'll come up here and do something like that. In fact, I'm going to make it a little bit wider. Good. That looks good. Now, one thing I did up here is I made the width of the wood a little bit wider than from here to the tape. You see that? That will break it up just a little bit. So the width of the wood is a little bit more than from to the top of the tape. All right, let's come over to the other side, do that same thing. So we've got that. Let's come up here like that maybe. Okay, oop, that looks like a little crooked there. Let's try it again. And then we're going to come maybe right about there. All right, there it is. Look at us coming along here. I know it's taken a little bit of time, but like I said, the better the drawing that you have, you're going to like the result much better. So I like to take the time and get the drawing accurate. Okay, come over here. Let's get this. Let's use oh, I didn't do that on that side. Interesting. Let's put just a quick gesture or a contour of this leaf. Look how loose I'm just kind of adding some marks here. All right, that kind of gives me an idea. Look how loose that is. You see that? All right, same thing down here. All right, let's come over on this side now. Here's some of my greenery there. It's going to come up, and then we're going to following the contour real loosely of these climbing roses. What a beautiful door. Isn't that great looking? That is just gorgeous. I think when we're done with this, I'm gonna show my wife Jackie this door, and maybe we could grow some roses around our door. But that sure is nice. I know that during the wintertime they would all go away, but I think we could pull it off. They grow. Springtime around here, things grow pretty quick, so. Okay, let's come over here and get the shape, contour shape of the wreath. Again, you're going to be using this line to paint green in, so you want to get a nice line there. And the same thing on the inside. And then get a spot for that pomegranate there, and that pomegranate up there. And guess what? I think we're done. We're done with these drawings. Let's do one thing though. Let's come here to the center. Let's bring this down and put a dot right here, because what I want to do is I kind of want to get these tiles in place. Make sure that you are like bringing in the edges like this, right? Because this is going to help sell and then this is 1 point perspective. So all of these lines are all going to converge at some point. You see that? It's 1 point perspective, this picture. Same thing. Here's the center. All right, so first angle is just kind of estimate. It's up to you. But then once you get that, then these others, these are all going to converge to the same place. Okay, now let's go ahead and get our first, what we're going to do now is we will go ahead and drop in our first layer of paint, and then we're going to call it a day, because it's already, we're at an hour, and I realize a lot of times when I'm painting watercolor, I can do it about an hour at a stint, and then I like to take a stop, a break. I like to let everything dry, and I come back. So as soon as this is done, I will post a link to tomorrow's class. We'll do it about the same time, about 2:30. You'll see it show up. If you're in our Facebook group, you can click on that link and join our group, and as well. So I'll have both those together in the comments. Plus, at the end of this video, which will be soon, I will put a part 2 place where you could just kind of click on that, and it will take you to the right part 2 of this painting. So hang in there. But for right now, let's get our base down. How about that? Get our base colors. And I'm using this very old brush I have. I really love it. It's a number 14. It's ancient. I've had it forever, and this is all synthetic. It's not anything fancy. Nothing fancy. All right. So let's come in here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this one with I'll tell you what, you know what? I'm going to paint this one with these colors here first. All right, so let me open this up and I'll show you how I will do it. All right, so in this, I have this nice well that's open. So first thing is I'm just gonna drop a little bit of paint here. The first thing I think I'm going to do here is put in this light blue. It's like it's a white color, okay? So there is no fancy method here. I'm just gonna I'm going to try this blue right here. Look at this. And I'm going to add it in there. Let's see what comes out first. In fact, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to grab this right here. It's good if you have a spare sheet of watercolor where you can kind of test your colors on. That's always, so if you could just tear one out if you want. This is a less expensive, less expensive paper, but you can see I could drop my color in here and see what's coming at it. It's a little bit on the blue side, so let's do this. Let me write this down for you because it's going to take a little bit of time because I want to show you some of the color theory or how this works. And this would do you well to have a color wheel. And you don't have to buy anything, just do this. Right up here, red, yellow, and blue. Okay? Red and blue make purple. We remember this. Yellow and blue make green. Red and yellow make orange. So this is how watercolor works. If something is too orange, too intense, and you want to like tone it down, just take a little bit of the opposite color and that will quickly like tone it down. That's how you get like a less intense color. And this works for all of these combinations, okay? So you're going to see me mix. If something's too intense, I'm going to use the opposite color to de-intensify it. So just grab a little sheet of paper, can we put it here? I'll put it right over here for right now. But you really want to memorize. This isn't that hard to memorize. Just picture this as a wheel in your head, okay? So here's my color so far. I'm going to add just a little bit of, what's the opposite of blue? Blue. Oh, look at that. There's orange. Just a bit of orange. I'm going to add a little bit of orange to that blue. Here I am right here. Just dabbing a little bit of that orange, grabbing that. Let's see what happens there. Wow, look how, with that little bit of orange, how much it just changed the color. So let's bring a little more blue into it. It went a little too far. All right, let's see what that looks like. Oh, look at that. That looks pretty good. I like that. A little bit of orange to the blue there, brought it to this intensity. Now, I'm going to add a little bit more water to it so it's not as dark. And let's see what happens now. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to... Now, the thing was with watercolor, it's like, I read this someplace. I thought it was pretty interesting. It's like herding sheep. The water will go wherever it is wet. If it's dry, it won't go there. So you want to just kind of pull this along here. Ooh, I want a little more blue in that, I think. All right, look. And now remember, we've got some roses here, so we don't want to take it over there. You could paint through the wood. That's going to be okay. Let's paint around this. Around this little thing here. This is going to be glass, so let's paint through that. All right, and just be aggressive. Now, the only thing you don't want to paint carefully around the door, all right? And you want to mix up enough pigment that you could quickly drop this value in. All right, we got this going here. I'm painting I'm painting around this. Look, painting around this a little bit. You see that? Just moving it. You're like a sheep herder. You're just moving the paint through the picture. Okay, just don't get it into your door here. That's the only thing I don't want you to do. Get a nice big brush. And I'm going to come all the way down in here. I'm going to add the blue. Right over here, because we'll tone up these we'll tone up these things to be just a little different. Okay, look, I've got some puddling going on. You see that puddling? So in order to get rid of puddling, okay, you may want to get rid of it. Think of your brush also as a sponge. So I'll rinse it right here in this water. I've got an old mason jar right here. And then I'm just going to dry it off. Dry it off. I'm not going to I'm just going to take the dampness. Now it's like a damp sponge. And I take that and I just touch right where the puddling is, and it will soak up that extra color, you see? All right. Now we do it again. Now this time we're going to jump over here, do the same thing. So you saw what I did. I used this set here. I just used some of the brighter blue, added a little bit of orange to it. That got my color. So now let's come over here. I'm going to use this palette, right? This palette where I have the 3 primary colors. I'm going to drop some water in here. This first one's cyan. So we're going to start with that cyan color. Wow, look at that, right? Okay, let's grab our color wheel here. What do we... Let's watch what happens here as I make the adjustment. All right, here's my picture getting organized here. Okay, so let's start with our blue. Here's our cyan blue. I'm gonna get a lot to add more water, more pigment to it. And there's my blue. Wow, look at that blue. All right, there's my color. All right, now I definitely have got to look at the bricks. Okay, so we definitely have got to add. What's the opposite of blue? Orange. I don't have any orange, and that's with intent. So we add a little bit of yellow to this first. Add some yellow. Now we're at green, which is fine because we're going to come in here and add just a bit of magenta. That's the red. And let's see what happens here. Add some more. All right, let's see where that color's at. Okay, look at the difference. See, it's dropped in its intensity. Let's go ahead and add a little bit more magenta to it. A little more magenta, get a little bit more purplish. Where does that end up? Okay, look at that. That's a good color right there. All right. The only thing with that color is it's too dark. So we're going to add a little bit of water to lighten it just a bit. Lighten it in value. All right. Lighten it up in value. And I bet you that's going to be right on the mark. Let's move this up here. And we'll go ahead and paint this. Once again, we're going to start at the top. Yep. That looks pretty good. There's a lot of, I'm going to add a little more water to it, but I like the color. One thing about watercolors is they always dry lighter. All right, we'll just pull that down here like this. We're going to go around that, hit the inside there. And I am moving fast because with the watercolor, you definitely have to just, you just kind of put it down. Get that nice hard edge there. Okay, there's some extra paint up here. I'm just going to use my brush there and pick up the extra. Where are we going here? Where are we going? Where are we going? Is this, yep, we're gonna come right along there. All right, leaving the, being very careful. I do not want to paint that door with any blue because blue and red make what? Blue and red make what? Here we are, look at that. Blue and red will make purple. Purple. So we don't want any purple on our door. All right, there we go. Look at that. Wow. Okay, our painting number 2 is on its way. This is gonna be fun to see what happens here. Okay, the other thing is if you we've just put one color on here. If you take another color that is wet and those two colors touch each other, they're going to blend into each other. So you want to avoid that. So before we start adding red, I want to make sure that this blue on both pictures is absolutely dry. In fact, I want to make sure all this blue is absolutely dry before we add any additional color. So let's do this. Let's come back over to this one here. I'm gonna feel it. That feels pretty good. So let's, before we do our red, let's do green first, okay? So I'm gonna actually use, I'll let that dry. Let's mix up some, oh, I gotta get the right palette here, sorry. We're gonna put some water here and we're gonna mix up this green, the green that we see, all right? So let's grab some, this dark green looks pretty good. Let's see how that works. So we'll drop some dark green here. All right, let's get our test sheet here. I'm going to put my test sheet back on top there. All right, let's see here now. Let's put a little green. How is that looking? Ooh, that is very, very, look how gray. Look at the picture. The picture shows that green should be much more like gray. So looking at our color wheel here, color wheel right there. What's opposite of green? Red. Okay, so we've got to come in here and add a little bit of red to this green to de-intensify it. And look, I've got I don't want to do orange. Here's a red, and there's also this burnt sienna. So let's try a little bit of the burnt sienna because that falls into the red category and see what happens here. Let's get some of that burnt sienna mixed in here. All right, let's see what this green looks like now. Wow, look at that. Look at the difference as I just added that burnt sienna, the opposite color, and that looks pretty good. So let's use that one. Gotta move that. All right, now, when you put the green on, now be aware of where, now this is where you kind of want to slow down just a little bit. Because you see where all the red is, the red little dots? We want to leave a space for that. In fact, with that being said, this is too big of a brush. So I'm actually going to change a brush to something a little bit smaller. And I'm going to mix up some color, more color before I do this. There's my color, add a little bit of water to that. Maybe a little bit more to that. Let's see what that looks like. Yep, I'm back in business. So I'm going to come down here and very, very carefully, I'm going to start painting in these areas here. But I'm going to leave some little areas that I could come in and add these flowers, you see? So I kind of want to think of these flowers, it's red and green, and I want to think of it not as flowers, but as blocks of area or big shapes. And I'm going to come up really close to that line. Just make sure the blue is dry before you touch it with the green. Leave plenty of negative spots for your roses here and flowers. And then where you put in the green, make sure they're solid areas. Make your way down. This is good to reverse the way you're looking at something. So just keep it. It takes concentration. You just can't willy-nilly just throw the stuff on here. You gotta think about it a little bit. Look for the shapes. Keep asking yourself, what's the shape? What's the shape of the green? And then put that down. Okay, same thing on this other side here. We can do this one too. So think of the shapes. I got in a conversation the other day with somebody we were discussing watercolors. I don't know where it was, but I got to thinking that, watercolors were a form of like quick sketch for artists. And I don't know how much they quick sketch and color study for, what they were going to make, what their painting was going to be. And I don't know how many survived over the years. So, okay, we got that one down. Look at that. Boo! Beautiful. Great. Okay, now this is interesting. Now the green in these two pots is a little bit more yellow green. Do you see the difference in the photograph? This is more of a cool green, and this is a yellow green. So let's take this same color here. I've got some left over, and I'm just gonna grab some of this yellow here. Oop, I'm just dabbing some of that, putting it in place. Let's see what that turns out to be. I'm gonna grab more of that, put that in there. Let's test that out on our board, on our paper here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Look at the difference. Look how yellow that is compared to the blue-green there. So I'm good. I'm good with that. I'm going to take that now, and there's very little flowers on this, but the variation in green is going to be nice there. And then over here we got some more red flowers. Okay. Oh, you know what? I forgot the most important green. I forgot the green of our wreath here. So we gotta grab some more green here. We gotta remix that color. So remember, it was just that bright green, right? And we're gonna grab a little bit of this burnt sienna. And that's a red, and this is gonna de-intensify it, right? And let's put that on the paper and see what we come up with. Okay, that's a little bit on the gray side, so I'm going to add a little bit more green back into that. So I'll grab a little more green here, throw it in that little well there. All right, let's see what that looks like off camera. That looks pretty good. I'm going to go with that. Okay, so this one, again, we're going to just kind of put this color in, and you want to stay within the lines there and leave room for these flowers. Okay. Just pushing the paint around, pushing the paint around. Don't paint in your pomegranate there. There's a grouping of flowers there. I was thinking this morning about this and the class, and you know, I have not. My training in watercolor has just really been generally on my own. I've taken plenty of training in the drawing aspect, and my approach to watercolor is the same way I kind of approach to drawing. I really kind of try and focus on value. That's what I shoot for. I shoot for value. And so I try and get the color of the watercolor to be the right value, and then I go for it. So it's kind of different. I think it's a little different than what is out there, or what the general way of doing watercolor is, but it's just the way I do it. So hopefully that doesn't scare anyone off. Okay, back to my 3 colors here, my general palette I like to use, and we're gonna mix up some green here now. So let's see, let's start with, get a nice, I'm going to start off with a nice tub, lots of water here, and we're going to start off with yellow. Yellow is, get a nice bunch of this yellow here. This is also yellow. I usually do two wells of paint. All right, so there's my yellow. Let's see how bright this is. Oh my, look how bright that is. Woo, that's like fluorescent. Okay, so what's the opposite of yellow? Opposite yellow is purple. All right, purple. All right, and where's my color wheel? What happened to that? Where is my little color wheel I had here? I don't know. Take my word for it. It's purple. You can... Oh, there it is. Is that it? No, it's not. Okay. All right. Take my word for it. All right. So in order to use purple, we're going to add a little bit of red to this yellow. A little bit of red. All right. This is going to take us to orange. And then we'll add a little bit of cyan to this. Oh my goodness, look at this. This has turned into green. All right, and that's what we're shooting for. All right, let's see what color green this is. All right, so this is too yellowy, so we've got to kind of get this green to be a more blue green. All right, so let's go ahead and add a little bit more cyan to this. There you go. And now in this case, to gray it down, I'm going to use a little Payne's gray. Now Payne's gray is kind of a blue-gray color, all right? So that will come in here. This is why I have it as an alternative possibility here. Let's just add a little bit of Payne's gray to that. This still is too green, so I need to keep adding some more blue, cyan to this. There, I think that looks much better. Let's see where we're at now. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. All right, nice, has a nice blue intensity there. I'm going to go just a little bit more. Now, using just 3 colors to try and, one great thing is it really gives you the practice of understanding mixing of colors. So that is why we kind of, oh, look at that. That's nice. That might be, oh, I better add a little yellow to that. Gotta add more yellow to that. All right, that looks pretty good. We'll go with that. Look, I'm going to use a wet. I've got a paper towel here, and I'm just going to kind of pick that up because that was too. Ooh, that's still. Look at that. Get some more Payne's Gray in there. More Payne's Gray. Let's see what this looks like now. More Payne's Gray. More Payne's Gray. All right, that's pretty good. I just have to add some water to it because there's too much pigment. You see, you're just constantly adjusting. All right, let's see how this turns out now. All right, that's good. We're going to go with that. All right, here we go. Making my way around here. Carefully now. This is like, when I say carefully, a lot of times I'm talking to myself because I'm quick to want to just slop stuff down and it ends up being wrong. And then I have to figure a way out of it, you see? So slowly make my way down here. When you're painting watercolor, you really got to get good at painting the negative, looking at the negative space of things. Oils, you don't have to do that because oils are opaque, so they just lay on top. They lay on top of each other, and so you could paint things a little bit differently. But with a watercolor, you have to learn to really paint that negative space because the white, when you add watercolor to white paper, that kind of gives it its intensity a little bit. And once you lose that white paper, then you are going to lose a little bit of the intensity in some of your colors. So all right, that looks pretty good to me. Okay, let's come over here and do this one now. Okay. Oh, while I'm at it now, before I move on, let me get the wreath. Paint this wreath in. And this, of course, this painting that we're doing right now is just kind of the under. We're going to add more values on top of this. All right. Last thing I need to do is add a little yellow to yellow. I'm going to add a little yellow to this area up here to get that nice yellow green. Let's check that out because that's going to be the color. All right, that's still far too bright, so I'm going to add a little magenta. Magenta is opposite green, and that's going to tone it down just a bit. And that looks pretty good to me. So let's come in here now and, oh yeah, look at that. That's good. That's a nice, we'll leave a little space for these berries here, right? And then come over here, we'll add that same bit. Excellent. Okay, let's keep going. What I want to do is I want to just, before we quit today, which we'll do shortly here, I want to get some red in this door, okay? I want to get the red in the door, and then we'll let this sit up overnight and come and hit it tomorrow. So back to my other palette here. I'm going to use this kind of, this well over here. There's a little bit of green, but that's okay. And I want to get this red here. This red is really bright. So this color right here is possibly exactly what we're looking for. So let's just use that. I'm going to get my brush nice and soaked with it. And then bring it down here. I gotta close the shade because the sunlight's coming in now. All right, let's see the intensity of this color here. Okay, that looks a little, this needs a little, look at it, it's a little bit on the pink side. So we need to bring it, it's on the cool side. So we need to shift it a little bit toward more red. This door reminds me, it's almost of the same color as Coca-Cola. And Coca-Cola, the color of the Coca-Cola brand is more of a warm red versus a cool red. So I know that in printing, oh, look at the difference. Oh, that's a nice, look at the difference there. You see the difference? There it is. This is after adding yellow to it. So it's taken this cool and add some yellow to it. Warmed it up a little bit. So that's what we're going to paint this door now with. And once again, this should be super dry. All right. So and then just come in close. Now, look what I'm doing. I'm just kind of going around very carefully here. This should all be dry. So we're just going to careful where we lay this down. And if you need to turn your board here, because it's easier for me like to paint from left to right. Get some more paint here. Just guiding it along. Kind of going quickly, pushing it along. Remember, you're like a sheep herder. And you're moving these colors across the field. Go quickly. You don't want an edge to dry up on you. You can paint right through that mail slot because that mail slot is a darker value. Okay, I'm gonna turn it a little bit again. so I could get this bottom squared up. Get a nice sharp edge there, right? Yeah. Like I always say with drawing, if this is your first rodeo with watercolor, great. Don't make it your last. All right? Don't give up on this. It takes work. It's hard, but it's once you get the hang of it, it gets so much better. So just fight through the urge to throw your whole thing away and tell me to go jump in the lake. All right, one down. We got one more to go. You could even, I'll tell you before we move on, now I'm going to come in here and just kind of hit up these negative spaces with this red here as a base. So I'm just going to come in here. We're going to come back in here tomorrow. But this is a good point to drop in if you have any remaining of that red. Even in here. You could even hit up these pomegranates because they are a darker value, and that little bit of red underneath will be nice. Okay, let's jump to our other. All right, I'm going to slide this over here. All right, I'm going to take this and I'm going to use this center well for this. So I'm just going to use my paper towel here and dry up a certain area here. Start off with some yellow. And these watercolors that I showed you when we first started, they're in the tube. I just squirt them out and then they get dry, and you can always add a little water to them and it will bring them right back to life. So let me show you, this is a little something you should see. So you would look at this color, you would look at all this and like, oh my gosh, Kurt, your yellows are all like, you've got green in this one and a brown in this one. Okay, this is how you fix that. You get them nice and soaked with the color there, with water. And then just remember earlier on I talked about how a brush is like a sponge. So I'll take my big brush, I'll kind of dry it out, and then with it being dry, I'll just kind of roll it in there, and it picks up all that loose, dirty color. And I can come back and get my colors to be pure again, you see? Without them being all dirty. So let's add some of that paint to this red here, right in here. Right, and let's add some magenta here. Okay, more magenta. Ooh, look at that. More magenta. It's still too orange. There we go. Now we're getting there. More magenta. More magenta. Gotta get this really red, but not cool red. That looks pretty darn good to me right there. That's what I'm gonna go with. Okay, that looks great. I'm gonna add a little, it's a little intense, meaning that it's too much pigment, and I want to water it down a little bit. So I'm just gonna add a little water to it. Okay, grab my paper towel just in case. Ooh, Look at that. I painted right over the handle here. Okay, so look at I got so much pigment in this. Look, I'm gonna just take my brush and kind of pull some of that pigment out. And now I'm going to quickly spread that around. Going right through that door, right through the mail slot. I might grab a little bit more here. Paint the edge left to right. Spin my thing around a little bit. Get the center. Careful not to overlap my colors. Okay. Look at this. You got some puddling going down here. So let's dry our brush out. I'm going to drag my brush through that like a sponge. That will pick it up. Try not to, you really don't want to overwork. You don't want to go back over things. And let's come in here now and add some red for these flowers. I'm really loosing. That's okay because we're going to come back in and add some detail tomorrow. All right, I think we got it. I think that's going to do it. We're going to let that sit up and dry. Let that sit up and dry tonight. Look at that. We get some reds over here. Some reds down here. All right, that's it. That's what we got for today. Hey, my name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws. This has been the Canvas Crew on Saturday. I will go ahead and set up another session for tomorrow, and I will see you tomorrow. Let's say 2:30 Eastern time. I'll add a link in the comments, and I will later this evening. I'll add a at the very end of this video. You could just click on the box there. Another video that will come up at the very end for tomorrow. All right. We'll see you guys. Have a great afternoon. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye. Make your day great.